Bonjour! Today let's have a look at asking questions using question tags in French. Okay, today we are going to concentrate on a formal question tag in French, which is n'est-ce pas. However, we do have other question tags, more colloquial, more spoken, okay? Check out my exclusive video on learnfrenchwithalexa.com if you want to know more about question tags. So you're going to ask me, but what is a question tag? Okay. Now, before we introduce you to the question tag, the only one that is formal in French, which is n'est-ce pas, let me introduce you to question tags in English a little bit so you know where we're at. Well, it is something like this. If you say, he is here, if you wanted to add a question tag, you would say, isn't he? Okay, that's a question tag, okay? And isn't he is based on the tense you're using in that sentence. So here we use is, okay, so it would be isn't he. So for I did my homework, the question tag would be, didn't I? Okay, and you could say something like, we have done our homework, haven't we? Okay, so question tags in English are that. It's isn't he? Didn't I? Haven't we? Did we? Okay, so as you can see, a question in English changes according to the tense you're using in the sentence, okay? However, in French, it is very different. We only use n'est-ce pas? N'est-ce pas? Which translated literally means, is it not? Is it not? At the end of a sentence to turn it into a question, especially when we are almost certain the answer to the question will be a yes, okay? So have a look at n'est-ce pas? Is it not? N'est-ce pas? So basically you would put a sentence together and you would have n'est-ce pas? And that will transform it into a question. And this is called a question tag, okay? Now, n'est-ce pas is rather formal in French. You could also add at the end of a sentence, non, non. We do that a lot in French. We actually use the non a lot. So we say a sentence, j'ai mangé des bonbons. Non, I ate sweets. Didn't I? Okay, no, okay. But that is a more colloquial way of doing it, and this is available on my other video. Okay. If I give an example of how to use n'est-ce pas, isn't it? You could say, c'est un beau poème. C'est un beau poème. It is a beautiful poem. And you would add, n'est-ce pas? N'est-ce pas? Isn't it? N'est-ce pas? Okay, here we don't have to look at whether the sentence is present and has is or whatever. In French, it's always the same. N'est-ce pas? N'est-ce pas? Can you say that? Well done, okay? Using non at the end of the sentence, you could say, c'est un beau poème, non? Okay, but this is the more informal tone or way of saying, isn't it? Okay, now another sentence here using n'est-ce pas. Vous accompagnerez les enfants à l'école demain, n'est-ce pas? Vous accompagnerez les enfants à l'école demain, n'est-ce pas? Now here I have chosen this sentence purposefully because it has a future tense. We know this sentence has a future tense because of the ending of accompagner. It is accompagnerait, okay? So you will take the children to school tomorrow, won't you? But we don't know how to say won't you in French, do we? So we are saying, n'est-ce pas? Which makes French in that respect much easier, by the way. So, vous accompagnerez les enfants à l'école demain, n'est-ce pas? You will take the children to school tomorrow, won't you? Now, another example, this time using the past tense, that should show you that n'est-ce pas is added as well, contrary to in English. So, Natacha et Louis sont venus le mois dernier, n'est-ce pas? Natacha et Louis sont venus le mois dernier, n'est-ce pas? So Natasha and Louis came last month, didn't they? N'est-ce pas? Okay, didn't they? N'est-ce pas? Another example using the past tense. J'ai mangé des pommes au déjeuner, n'est-ce pas? I have eaten apples for lunch, haven't I? J'ai mangé des pommes au déjeuner, n'est-ce pas? Well done. So now you know there is no secret really about question tags in French much, okay? It is all about adding n'est-ce pas at the end of a sentence. Why don't you try, okay? Say a sentence and then say n'est-ce pas, and then suddenly it becomes a question that you ask to someone, and it's more likely to be the answer to be yes. Okay, so remember, n'est-ce pas is commonly used as a question tag, but we use more informal ones, more colloquial ones as well. You can see the extra lesson on this very subject on learnfrenchwithalexa.com. That's my website, by the way, and it's really good. Now, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already, and leave a comment, because I love comments. I really do, and I try to answer them as much as I can. Bonjour! Today we are going to look at French possessive adjectives. So basically we are going to learn how to say my and your and her and so on. Okay, folks, now this is a tough one, and that's the reason why I've decided to split this lesson in 3 videos. What I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to tell you what possessive adjectives are. Because you may think, okay, well, got no clue, I don't know what this is. Well, when I show you, you're going to think, that's what they are. Now, in English, that's straightforward, very straightforward. Possessive adjectives is when you say my, or when you say your, or when you say his or her, or when you say our, or when you say their. Okay, so what I've decided to do today is show you the full chart of possessive adjectives in French, okay? Have a look. Okay, so do not get overwhelmed now. You've got to know 4 main rules in order to understand how to use possessive adjectives. They're quite simple once you get the rules, okay? Now, you need to know these 4 rules. Listen very, very carefully. Number 1, we have 3 different ways of saying them. As you can see, I've put 3 different columns here, okay? And as you can see, I have a column titled masculine, 1 title feminine, and 1 title plural, okay? Number 2, in French, possessive adjectives agree with the noun which follow, okay? Now, the noun that follows, for example, my cat is cat, okay? So it has to agree. Whatever you say for my, whichever you choose will be related to cat, okay? Is it A, a feminine word? Is it B, a masculine word? Is it C, a plural word? So that's my second rule. Number 3, numéro 3. In the plural form, there is no difference between masculine and feminine. So therefore, as you can see, you're going to use the same possessive adjectives regardless of their gender. And that's my rule number 3. Now, rule number 4, which is really useful, I think, is that if you are using a feminine word and you want to use a possessive adjective, but if this feminine word begins with either a vowel or an H, okay, you must use the masculine colon, as in le mon and the ton and the son. Now, I'm going to do a lesson today purely on the masculine possessive adjectives, okay? Not the feminine, that's another video, and not the plural, which is another video as well, okay? So, let's have a look at possessive adjectives when using a masculine word. And let's have a look as well when using a word beginning with a vowel, okay? Just to see what it looks like. Have a look at this. For my, it is mon. For your, it's ton. For his, her is son. Okay, I will explain that in a minute, okay? Okay, for our, it's notre. For your, it's votre. And for their, it's leur, okay? Now, of course, we have 2 ways of saying your, and you're going to ask me, but why? Because I've said it hundreds of times before, you must be careful whether you use your as a formal or informal way, or whether you talk to a group of people. So the informal will be the first your, ton, okay? So, mon, ton, son, notre, votre, leur. Mon, ton, son, notre, votre, leur. Can you say that? Mon, ton, son, notre, votre, leur. I should have written a rap song on possessive adjectives. Yeah, how geeky is that? Mon, ton, son, notre, votre, leur. Mon, ton. Okay, now, what I would like to do now is show you what it looks like in an example, okay, or a few examples for that matter. Let's use a masculine noun, super easy. Le stylo. Le stylo. So we know it is masculine noun because stylo has a le in front of it, okay? Not a la, not a le, it's a le. Now, what if you wanted to say, my pen is red? And by the way, stylo means pen. I'm not sure that I need to cover that, but just in case, le stylo means the pen. Now, my pen is red, okay? My pen is red. Now, looking at the chart, ignore the feminine version, ignore the plural version for a minute. Looking at the chart, how do you say my? It is mon, because stylo is masculine. And this is what I refer when you need to agree the possessive adjective with the gender of the noun you're using. So stylo is masculine, therefore you use mon. Okay? Right, so mon stylo est rouge. Now you're going to tell me, well, what if I wanted to say your pen is red? Well, you would say either, we've got two ways, have a look, ton stylo est rouge ou votre stylo est rouge. So what if I wanted to say their pen is red? Well, you would say leur stylo est rouge. Quite simple. I mean, once you know this by heart, there is not a problem. Mon, ton, son, notre, votre, leur. Okay. Here's the difficulty here, okay? And it takes quite a while to grasp. How do you say her pen is red? Her pen is red. And I can see you out there, especially the English speakers going, ooh, difficulty here because her is feminine, but pen is masculine. What am I going to do? Well, regardless whether it belongs to a lady or a man, you must agree, what did I say? Agree the possessive adjective with the noun, not who it agrees or not who it belongs to, okay? So, basing on that, and basing, is that even a word? Le stylo is masculine, so therefore, have a look at the chart. It is going to be son, regardless whether we are saying her in English or his. Do you get that? Yes, so it is. Her pen is red would be son stylo est rouge. Okay? Same way, if you wanted to say his pen is red, it's still son stylo est rouge. Okay? I know it takes a while, but if you finish the 3 lessons that I'm going to do over, the next 3 times on possessive adjectives, you will understand and you will grasp it. Eventually you say, okay, it's not her coat, okay? It all is, what is coat? Is it feminine or masculine? That's the question you need to ask, not whether it belongs to someone feminine or someone masculine, okay? Now, using an noun starting with a vowel. I'm going to take arbre, for example, arbre. Now we said l'arbre, it means the tree. We know it's masculine. Well, you don't know necessarily. I know for sure, okay? But you've got to learn it. It is masculine. Trust me on this one. We'd say un arbre. Now, if you wanted to say my tree, you would say mon arbre. Quite simply, it is masculine anyway. It doesn't change regardless whether it begins with a vowel or not. However, if you wanted to use a feminine word beginning with a vowel, then that's another story. Let's take, for example, école. Now, it is une école. It is a school, une école. It's a feminine word. But we are not using the feminine colon here because école begins with a vowel. So therefore, we have to use the masculine. So you want to say, my school is big, then you would say, mon école est grande. Okay? Always, regardless whether école is feminine or masculine. Okay, école is feminine, you will always use the masculine here. So if you wanted to say her school is big, And here we are again. Oh my gosh, her is feminine, école, school is feminine. What do I do? Well, école begins with a vowel, so therefore it is going to be son from the masculine colon. Okay, have I lost you or are we good? Okay, I'm going to stop here on possessive adjectives using the masculine colon here, but I will teach you more in a video extra that I have exclusively filmed for my beautiful subscribers on my beautiful website, Learn French with Alexa. Check it out. Bonjour, today let's have a look at French possessive adjectives using the feminine words. So I'm going to say my and your and his and her, etc. Okay, folks, I would ask you, if you're not certain, to watch my first video, the video where I explain everything about possessive adjectives using the masculine version, okay, of the possessive adjectives. Today we are concentrating on the feminine version of possessive adjectives. So let's have a little quick recap, okay? Possessive adjectives in French are these: my, your, his, her, our, their, okay? Quite simply. In English, you have one way of saying that, but as you can see on my little chart here, we've got 3 different ways of using my, 3 different ways of using your, his, her, our, their, okay? So, like I said in my previous video, I would like you to remember 4 crucial rules about possessive adjectives in French, okay? So, possessive adjectives in French indicate to whom something belongs, okay? It's my, it's her, and so on. So that's simple, but you need to know 4 rules to get them right. The first rule is we have 3 different ways of saying them. The second rule is that in French they agree with the noun which follows, okay? As in, if you wanted to say my cat, you need to know what gender is cat in French. Is it masculine? Is it here feminine? Is it here plural? And then it will depend on This will depend on what you use, okay, as a possessive adjectives. Are you going to use the feminine version, masculine version, plural version? Okay. Numéro 3, number third, numéro 3. In the plural form, there is no difference between masculine and feminine. So for you, that's going to be pretty easy, okay? So that the colon for plural is pretty easy to use because it's regardless of the gender of the word. And to finish, number 4, okay, listen carefully to this rule. Number 4, if the word is feminine and if it begins with a H or a vowel, then you must use the masculine colon, okay? You must use the masculine colon, okay? Now, I have given you the 4 rules again, which I invite you to learn by heart, by the way. Let's look at the possessive adjectives when using a feminine word. Now, have a look at my colon here. We've done the masculine colon, that's fine. Okay, well, let's have a look at the feminine. No, it's column. Column. I knew that. Okay. Ma, that means my. Ta, that means your. Sa, that means his or her, and I will explain again in a minute. Notre, that means our. Votre, that means your. Leur, that means their. Now, we have 2 ways of saying your, ta or votre, and we know why, because I've explained that so many times before. It depends on who you're talking to. Is it an informal way of saying your? Is it a more formal, which is votre way of saying your? Okay, so ma, ta, sa, notre, votre, leur. Ma, ta, sa, notre, votre, leur. I'm definitely going to do a rap song on this. Ma, ta, sa, notre, votre, leur. Okay, so we've got these, okay, and we know them by heart, don't we? Okay, what differs with the masculine is, have a look, it's ma, ta, sa, mon, ton, son. Okay, notre, votre, leur is the same. So that should be pretty easy for you to use, okay? One way, except for the plural, nos, vos, leurs. Okay. Now, how would you say she's eating her apple. So let's get straight into it. She's eating her apple. Okay, how are we going to do this possessive pronoun? Adjectives, not a pronoun. Okay. Elle mange. So which one of these adjectives are we going to use here? Elle mange sa pomme. Elle mange sa pomme. Okay. Now you're going to tell me, but her is feminine, so definitely sa. But we're not using sa because her is feminine, because it belongs to a lady. No, we are using sa because apple, la pomme, is a feminine word. Okay, so what if you wanted to say, he is eating his apple? That would be the same. Il mange sa pomme. It will remain the same, okay? It's not because it belongs to a boy that suddenly we are going to use son pomme. It is all to do with pomme, okay, and its gender. In this case, it's a feminine word, okay? Now, if you wanted to say, she's eating my apple, quite simply, elle mange ma pomme. Well done. Elle mange ma pomme. Okay, here, try to translate this one. Their television is in my bedroom. Their television is in my bedroom. Now, their television is leur télévision. We know that television. We're using only adjectives, only noun in the feminine gender here. Yeah. So leur télévision. But then again, television is here feminine, but we are using leur the same way as we could use leur for a masculine adjective, masculine noun here. Okay. So leur télévision est, their television is, dans ma chambre, in my bedroom. Why? Because chambre is a feminine noun. Okay? Now, remember that if the word begins with an H or a vowel, then you must not use the feminine possessive adjective, but you must use the masculine one. So, what I'd like you to do now is try to use a feminine noun and try to use it in a sentence using a possessive adjective. So you could say, for example, my banana is yellow. Okay, that's an example. Ma banane est jaune. Okay, so leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and why don't you have a look at learnfrenchwithalexa.com, where I actually post more of these exclusive videos. So there is one about possessive adjectives here. Bonjour, today let's have a look at French possessive adjectives using the plural form. So we are going to use how to say my and you and his and hers and blah, blah, blah. Okay, folks, this is part 3 of my lessons on possessive adjectives. Now, if you're not certain about what we are talking about, then please watch number 1 and 2 of possessive adjectives. That might help, okay? And also, on my website, learnfrenchwithalexa.com, you can have access to exclusive videos just on this subject, as a matter of fact. Right, now, let's have a look at possessive adjectives one more time. What are they? Well, they are when you say my and you and his, her and our and their. Okay. As I said before, we have 4 very important rules that you need to know if you want to handle possessive adjectives properly. And these are these. Number 1, we have 3 different ways of saying them. Okay, have a look at the columns here. For my, we've got 3 ways. For your, 3 ways, and so on. Number 2, in French, they agree with the noun which follows. Okay, so you're going to say, but I still don't understand what that means. Well, watch number 1, video number 1, and video number 2. Maybe you will, okay? Like I said to you before, it is all to do with the noun and its gender, not who it belongs to. The noun and its gender. You must know that in France we have a feminine and a masculine. Well, you must know that before you are able to use the appropriate adjective here. Okay. Number 3. In the plural form, there is no difference between masculine and feminine, okay? And we are going to cover that today, okay? That's our focus today. And number 4, did I say number 3 before? Number 4, in front of a feminine word starting with a vowel or an H, okay? We must use the masculine colon, okay? So regardless whether the word is feminine, if it starts with a vowel or an H, you must use mon, ton, son. Okay. Now let's have a look at the possessive adjectives when using a plural word. Now first of all, what's a plural word? That's right. It's when you use more than one thing, okay? So we're talking about one table. In the plural form, it will be the tables, okay, tables with an S, okay. You're going to say, well, I know that, okay, don't talk to me like if I am a baby, but I don't. I promise you I don't. I just that after 20 years of experience in teaching, I find that some people still don't know what the plural form of a word is. So I am not being condescending in any way here. I just want to reach out to as many people as possible here, okay? Okay. Now, let's have a look at the colon on plural form. I'm not sure what's wrong with me today. Anyway, mes, tes, ses, nos, vos, leurs. Okay, now this is pretty simple. Have a look again. Mes, tes, ses, nos, vos, leurs. So the difference between the nos, vos, leurs, the last three, is instead of being notre, votre, leur, we say nos, vos, leurs. Leur being the same pronunciation regardless whether it has an S or not, okay? So, leur, okay, that means their. My, your, his, her, our, your, and theirs, okay, their. Okay, now what's happening here, and I've said it before, we have two ways of saying your, tes, un, vos, and vos, because it depends whether you're talking to someone in an informal way, tes, or formal way, vos, or more than one person, vos. Okay? Right. Now, this is very easy. I thought this lesson was going to be easy, but it is actually, because regardless of the word you're using, as long as it has an S at the end, we know it's a plural, okay? Now, we will use always this. So if you wanted to say, for example, my socks are blue, my socks are blue, you just don't need to worry whether the word sock here is feminine or masculine. You just have to worry about what is my when using the possessive pronouns. Okay, what is my in French? Okay, when using a plural form. Well, in our chart, it is mes. Okay, so mes chaussettes sont bleues. Okay, quite simply, mes chaussettes sont bleues. You do not need to know whether chaussette is feminine or masculine here. It's actually feminine, by the way, but you don't need to know that. Now, how would you say her socks are blue? Her socks are blue. Simply, whether it's his or hers, it's ses, okay? Ses chaussettes sont bleues. So how would you say his socks are blue? Same way, ses chaussettes sont bleues. I'm going to say that one last time here. When you want to say his or her, okay, it is not about the person that has these things, okay? It's not who it belongs to, okay? You're not going to use the feminine if you say her sock. You're going to use the feminine because sock is a feminine word. And so if you want to say his sock, okay, you're not going to use the masculine because you think it belongs to a girl, a boy. You are going to use the feminine because sock is feminine. Is that okay? That's the last time I'm going to say that anyway. Okay. Now, how would you say their bags are heavy? Their bags are heavy. Look at the chart here. Leurs sacs sont lourds. Lourd being heavy. Leurs sacs sont lourds. Okay? Now, how would you say your books are old? Okay, look at the chart again. Vos livres sont vieux. Okay, vos livres sont vieux. Excellent. Now to finish, remember one of our rules is that in feminine, Okay, when you have a feminine word that begins with an H or a vowel, we must always use the masculine. Okay, when it comes to the plural form, it does not matter. You use the plural form. So if you wanted to say ami, as in friends, and we know here it's feminine because it has an E here, and it's plural because it has an S, okay? And you wanted to say my friends, you would say mes amis. Mes amis, tes amis, ses amis, nos amis, vos amis, leurs amis. So you think, oh, that's too many the sound here? Well, it's because all these possessive adjectives end with an S. So we must do what we call the liaison, okay? And ami begins with a vowel. Okay. I think that's it on my possessive adjectives, and I really hope I have been clear about the way it works, because that's quite tricky, and it's annoying that in French you've got to take all these things in consideration. Is it A, a feminine word? Is it B, a masculine word? Is it C, a plural? Is it D, a masculine plural, feminine plural? This is what you have to think in French, okay? I don't, because I'm French, and it comes just like that. But for you, I understand that you've got to think about it. So you're going to say, but what if I get it wrong? What if I say ma instead of mon? What if I say me instead of ma? It's fine. It's fine. It will sound wrong, so wrong, okay, but we will still understand what you mean. Okay, and now you're going to go away. Oh, that's okay. I don't need this anyway. So if she just told me that whether I get 1 out of the 3 wrong, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's not what I meant. Okay. Now remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already. Please subscribe. And have a look at learnfrenchwithalexa.com, where I post regularly some superb exclusive videos. Bonjour! Today let's have a look at possessive pronouns. Basically, we are going to learn how to say mine, yours, hers, and so on. Okay, folks, today I'm going to cover quite a difficult subject, okay? But I think it has to be done because it is used on everyday language, even in English, in every languages a bit. Now, in French, it's slightly more tricky. We are going to cover the possessive pronouns. So you're going to tell me, okay, what is possessive pronouns? Well, the possessive pronouns replace a noun defined by an adjective, possessive, okay? So, for example, in English you say, it is my cat, and then it becomes, it is mine. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to say this. Mine, okay, yours, and so on, okay? Now, if you're not confident with a possessive adjective, such as my, your, her, his, please refer back to my lesson on possessive adjectives. Today, it is all about the pronouns. So we are not learning how to say my, your, we are learning how to say mine, yours, and so on. So that's the difference here, okay? Now, you've got to be extremely careful when using a possessive pronoun in French, because you've got to take in consideration so many things. So you're going to tell me what? What is it I need to take in consideration? Well, I've said it so many times before in many of my lessons. You've got to take 4 things in consideration. Are you talking about a word which is masculine, of masculine gender? Are you talking about a word which is of feminine gender? Are you talking about a word which is of masculine plural gender? Are you talking about a word which is feminine plural? Okay, and you've got to take in consideration these 4 options when using an adjective, pronoun, a possessive pronoun, okay? So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to concentrate on only one, the masculine singular possessive pronoun. And if you look at the chart here, you will see it's the first column on the left, not quite the first one is in English. The second one you will see is all about the masculine possessive pronoun. So let's learn how we're going to say mine or yours or his, hers and its. How are we going to say ours and theirs? Okay. Now, what you need to take in consideration that we have 4 variations according to the gender number. So I've said that already before. But I would like you to apply 3 rules, and I would like you to learn these 3 rules. I know you're going to say, oh, rules, don't like them. Do you know what? Once you get that, then you would not make a mistake at all, okay? Rule number 1. In French, the possessive pronouns vary according to the gender and number of the noun it replaces, as well as the person to whom the object belongs to. So, in a short example, if you want to say c'est mon chat, it is my cat, and you want to say it is mine, then you say c'est le mien. Have a look at that. C'est le mien. So we know that the cat belongs to the first person singular, mine, okay, which is me, okay. We know that the cat is masculine, le chat. And we know it's not a plural. So it has to belong to only one column, the column we are about to cover here, okay? So that's the rule number 1. Rule number 2, it is very important to use the correct definite article in front of your pronouns, such as le, la, les, okay, depending on the gender and number of the noun you're referring to. Okay, if it's a masculine gender, then you say le. If it's a feminine, you say la. If it's a plural, you are going to say les. But you're going to see there is a twist here as well. And the rule number 3, which is the hardest of them all, okay, and I don't expect you to know it naturally like that. It takes time to get to grasp with it. Do you say that? To grasp with it. Okay. If the possessive pronoun comes after the prepositions a or de, then you need to make a contraction. So the contraction occurs between the preposition and the definite article. You never say alle, never. You say o. You would never say aller, you would say o with an X. You would never say de le, it becomes du. And you never say de les, it becomes de. And that's the contraction. It works for everything actually, and not only the possessive pronouns. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the first column here. Okay. For mine, it is le mien. Mine. Le mien. Okay. It's le because we're talking about the masculine here. Okay. For yours, it is le tien. Le tien. Okay. For his, hers, its, regardless of the gender it belongs to, okay? It's all about to do with the gender of the word you're using here. Well, it's becoming le sien. Le sien, okay? For ours, it is le, because it's masculine, notre. Le, notre, okay? And for yours, as in the plural form, is le votre, or the more formal form of you is le votre, okay, le vôtre. And for theirs, it is le leur, le leur. Have a look. Yeah? Okay. So, you need to practice this, okay? C'est le mien, it's mine. C'est le mien, c'est le tien, c'est le sien, c'est le nôtre, c'est le vôtre, c'est le leur, okay? Now, just to give you a short example here, if you said your pencil, so we are using your as in a possessive adjective here. It is votre crayon, your pencil, okay? But you want to say it is yours. So you would look at my little column here, and you look at the way we say yours. You have 2 possibilities, le tien ou le vôtre. Why is it le? Because crayon is masculine. It's a masculine word, okay? Then you can ask me, but why? How do I know it's a feminine or a masculine? You just don't. You learn this by heart. Now, there are rules. If you're not sure, have a look at my definite and indefinite articles, or how to tell whether a word is feminine or masculine. Most of the time, if it ends with an E, it's probably feminine, but it doesn't work all the time, okay? Now have a look at this. My bed, mon lit. Now how would you say it is mine? Have a look at the chart. Le mien, c'est le mien, okay? I know it's tough to grasp. I'm concentrating only on the masculine here, okay? Lessons will come up for the next 3 sections. Now have a look at this one. Her computer. Son ordinateur, okay? It's her computer. Now remember, it's not because it belongs to a girl that computer is going to be a feminine noun. Computer is actually a masculine noun. So we say son ordinateur, and if you want to say it's hers, then you would say c'est le sien. Okay? Have a look at the chart again. Get the grasp of it. It's the second time I say grasp. I don't even know whether I'm using that properly. Anyway, what if I said j'ai oublié mon livre, tu peux me prêter le tien? What do you think that means? J'ai oublié mon livre, tu peux me prêter le tien? So have a look at le tien. This is what we are focusing on today. I forgot my book. Can you lend me yours? Le tien. And why is it le? Because it's mon livre. It's masculine. It is le livre. Can you see that? Okay. Now let's have a look at this sentence here. Mon chat est noir. So far it's quite easy. My cat is black. Le vôtre ou le tien est blanc. So le vôtre or le tien both mean the same. It means yours. Well done. So my cat is black, yours is white. Mon chat est noir, le vôtre or le tien est blanc. Okay? Now let's have a look at one last example here. Ne touche pas à ce téléphone, c'est le sien. Ne touche pas à ce téléphone, c'est le sien. So don't touch this telephone, it is hers or his. Can you see? Because telephone here is masculine. And remember, this is what we are focusing on. Okay, so these are my little examples, very easy. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a tiny example here, which gives you an example and emphasize on the third rule, the rule whereby you have to do a contraction. Do you remember? If you're not certain about that, please rewind to my rules, okay? Now, I want to say, your cat looks like mine. Now, mine is what we are focusing on today. Your is called a possessive adjective. That's what we focused on other lessons, okay? So, your cat looks like mine. Now, how do you say looks like? Well, in French, we say ressemble à, with an accent. So, it looks like, okay? Il ressemble à, okay? Votre chat ressemble à, and then you want to say mine. If you look at mine in the chart, it is le mien, okay? Le mien. But we know for a fact we cannot say à le mien. So we say au mien. Votre chat ressemble au mien, okay? And that's what I mean by doing the contraction. Now, what I would like you to do is have a look at the chart and try to get an idea of what possessive pronoun is really about. Today we concentrated on one, which is the masculine singular possessive pronoun, okay? What would be easier for you is to have a look on paper, and that's why I've put together for you a support guide that follows this lesson. It is available at learnfrenchwithalexa.com, okay? Right, subscribe to Learn French with Alexa, the YouTube channel, and have a look at my awesome website, learnfrenchwithalexa.com. And please try to make your own example and leave a comment so I can see what's happening. Bonjour, today let's have a look at feminine possessive pronouns in French. So we are going to learn how to say mine, yours, his, and so on. Okay, folks, let's have a look at the feminine possessive pronouns today. Now, If you're not sure about the masculine possessive pronouns, please have a look at my other lessons that concentrate just on the masculine possessive pronouns. Now, when I mean possessive masculine pronouns or possessive feminine pronouns, I mean this. Have a look at this chart. It's basically, how do we say mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, yours, and theirs in French. Okay? Now, as you may imagine, there are 4 ways of saying mine in French, 4 ways of saying yours, 4 ways of saying everything. But today we concentrate on the way number 2, which is the feminine versions, which is the ones that you are going to use when you use a feminine word, okay? So, for mine, we say la mienne. It is mine, c'est la mienne. For yours, it is la tienne. For his, hers, and its, it is la sienne. For ours, it is la nôtre. For yours, it is la vôtre. And for theirs, it is la leur. So you will notice a pattern here. We've got la throughout. Why? Because it's a feminine pronoun, okay? Now, what I would like you to do, because it's a concept that may not exist for you because you've never had to think about it, okay? Now, for example, if you wanted to say c'est ma pomme, it is my apple. But you want to say it is mine. Okay, that's what we're working on today. So, c'est ma pomme, it is mine. Have a look at the chart. How would you say that? C'est la mienne. Okay, why it is that we're using la? It's because pomme is feminine. Okay, so you've got to remember that the possessive pronoun replace a noun. Okay, a noun defined by an adjective possessive. Okay, so if I say sa pomme, I would say la sienne, okay, if you were to replace it. And it vary according to the gender and number of the noun it replaces, as well as the person to whom the object belongs to. So, in the example, c'est ma pomme, c'est la mienne, we know that the apple belongs to the first person singular, as in ma pomme, okay? These rules have been explained in my video on masculine possessive pronouns. If you are not certain, have a look and refer back to it, please, for more information. And you've got the support guide available for this website, this lesson as well on learnfrenchwithalexa.com. Now, how would you say this? It is her chair, it is hers. Have a look. So you would think, okay, it's not because it belongs to a girl, remember, it's what is the gender of chair? Well, it's feminine. So you would say, c'est sa chaise, but how would you say it is hers? Well, if you follow the chart, c'est la sienne. Okay, get it? Now, have a look at this one. It is your house, it is yours. So how would you say that? C'est ta maison, okay, remember maison is a feminine, so therefore we don't say ton, we say ta. C'est ta maison, c'est la tienne, okay, if you follow the chart. Once you know what gender we are talking about in French, in that case it's maison, so it's feminine, then there is no problem. So c'est ta maison, c'est la tienne. Have a look at this one. C'est notre chatte, c'est la nôtre. So it's our cat, it is ours, okay? So you're going to say, hold on a minute, chat is cat, it's masculine. Not in this case. It has a double T-E, so we know it's feminine. So, c'est notre chatte, it's our cat, c'est la nôtre, it is ours, okay? So, like I say, you've got to be aware when you use this pronoun, you've got to think, what gender is it? Is it feminine? Is it masculine? Is it feminine plural, masculine plural? Okay? Now, have a look at a few examples to get you warmed up and going here, okay? We had a look at c'est ma pomme, c'est la mienne. Have a look at this one. Ma voiture est à côté de la tienne. Ma voiture est à côté de la tienne. Well, that means my car, okay, my as in the possessive adjective. And by the way, if you're not certain about the possessive adjectives, as in my, your, his, and so on, have a look at my lessons on possessive adjectives. There are 3 lessons on that subject. Okay, now, ma voiture est à côté, is next to yours, la tienne. Have a look. Ma voiture est à côté de la tienne. Okay? Now have a look at this example now. Notre maison est petite. La leur est grande. Notre maison est petite. La leur est grande. How? Our house is small. La leur. What do you think la leur means? Well, if you look at the chart, it means theirs, okay? Talking about a feminine word. Theirs is big. Well done. Notre maison est petite. La leur est grande. Theirs is big. Okay? Now, have a look at the chart, complete chart here again. Okay? Haven't covered the feminine plural, the masculine plural. That's coming up in other lessons. I just want to do one thing at a time because it's such a hard subject for me to teach. It's really hard. Can you imagine for you to try to understand? I am making it as simple as possible and it's really, really hard. Okay? Now remember that. Remember that you would use these possessive pronouns, feminine possessive pronoun, if your word was a feminine word. Okay? That's quite simple. I would like you to learn this by heart. Yes, you will. Yeah, I know you will. No, you will. I promise you will. Anyway, remember there is a support guide that comes with this lesson and it's available on learnfrenchwithalexa.com. Have a look at Learn French with Alexa, the channel, YouTube channel, which is super awesome, and subscribe to it if you want to know what goes on in my French world. That's it for me. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bisous, bisous.